Page one. Sir, last question.
Hi, Dustin Bolts with the Wall Street Journal. I, for one, think this is very sexy and glamorous. Thank you for doing it. Just a follow-up to something you mentioned about the Biden administration not greeting this warmly. I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more on if they've indicated there would be any sort of tweaks or meddling in classification or security clearance reform that they would be receptive to. I think, as you know, they have been working on their own executive order on classification issues, but it sounds like that's maybe slowed. Are they open to anything, or what?
Well, let me better clarify my initial answer.
Yeah.
We have only heard back from one component of the intelligence community. So we've not gotten a formal response from the White House. We've not gotten a formal response from the ODNI. I just know historically, administrations, and I think it's really important to say, there would have been the same pushback from the Trump administration, from the Biden administration, from the Bush administration. It just, that's the nature of the beast, that the administration does not want Congress meddling. Two, but the status quo can't stand either. Three, on security clearance reform, the administration has been a great partner. Both the Trump administration and the Biden administration have been great partners as we move towards, the notion that we're not going to simply re-poly everybody 5 years. We're going to have this process of continuous vetting, and we are at now, I think, we're supposed to be working to 2.0, but we're at 1.5, and, it takes longer than we'd like, and still kind of, we still are missing the ability, if you've got clearance in one agency, to have it to another, reciprocity, and there may always be a problem with CIA, but at least on the balance, there ought to be reciprocity. We didn't have reciprocity even within DHS. It was kind of crazy. So you may want us, to ping the administration and see what kind of talk. What have you heard so far?
Crickets.
Pardon? Crickets. Well, that's better than a flamethrower.
Last word, sir.
Yeah, look, sources and methods have to be protected.
Yeah.
And so as we move through this, do no harm, but also recognize the opportunity that we are missing now to save lives and to promote a better economy in this country, to promote a better defense in this country, and to actually provide additional insight as to how good some things actually work, are all items that you have to weigh. But once again, do no harm. The do no harm is in place today, but there is not a recognition really of the lost opportunities because of the overclassification. I think in a nutshell, that's really where we're at, what we're trying to accomplish.
And can I add one other thing, just that I think is, because these are not related, but are related. We are, and with some of you in this room have been actively engaged. We got a long way to go to make sure we get 702. We committed. And boy, oh boy, the value of 702 today is even exponentially greater than it was a decade ago. And not just in anti-terrorism, but in terms of great power competition. There's also a whole host of reforms that have taken place on 702 that I don't think most Americans and most members of Congress even realize. And making that message clear is something we all have. If we are at the same time moving towards less classification and more willingness to say the public interest has a right to know, I do think that helps us in the 702 debate. Mm-hmm. So all of these panels around gaining the American public's trust that these tools are going to be used carefully and not widely against any group of Americans, and that the CIA doesn't really know where the secret of Bigfoot is and being kept secret. Proving that we're good stewards of information, I think does help us on 702.
Great.
And I'm going to leave
Thank you
Mike on
so
here,
much.
but I
Chairman,
apologize.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the ABA and NPEC, we
Appreciate it. Thank you.
really want to thank you for what you two guys are doing, because you're showing bipartisan action to live in 2020.
And I also want to make sure I give a shout out to John Cornyn as well, who's another been a leader. And
Okay.
obviously Ron Wyden and Jerry Moran.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
So with